Okay, good morning, guys. Playing around with the new format here. And I figured one of the things that I talked about is I feel like a lot of collectors, including me, have just kind of moved on from the mess that most of the modern comics are, especially from the big two and stuff, right? So I decided to make me a cup of coffee, put it in my decapitated Boba Fett head, which can be awkward to drink out of, if you want to see that, and play around with this new format for this channel and stuff, and see what's going on in the comic book world. See what just play around, look at some news and stuff, right? And check to see if I'm even on Twitter here, on the Twitter. See if I'm showing up on YouTube here. But figure like let's play around here, see what's going on. I have completely not looked at this at all. There's no preparation, totally unscripted. If there's anything that's going to get a rise out of me or get a reaction out of me, it's going to pop up here, which I think is fantastic. And yes, I am live. Awesome. So let's just jump into it here. Go over here to the Newsarama. It's a rainy Saturday morning and it's cold and nasty out there. And I got to tell you, the last week in Virginia, probably depending on your attitude, has either been very stressful, make your eyes roll, or a very exciting time. So let me jump over here to the Newsarama and see what's going on. Of course, it's a howler. Might as well see what's going on here real quick. See why I'm getting told. Anyway, so one of the first things I'm seeing here is a Newsarama here. If you can get past all the ads and stuff, we got. It seems like that Newsarama does this a lot in a world where they rehash, revamp, get derivative. Have people tell you that we're trying to move forward in the comic book industry and stuff. They always seem to have articles where we go back in time. And they have the 10 greatest X-Men stories, the 10 greatest this, the 10 greatest moments of this hero, that villain. Which is one of the reasons I actually sort of, have laid off of the news sites and stuff. But a lot of these are just rehashed articles and stuff, right? So just for the fun, if we don't have to to do 10 pages and stuff. But 10 greatest X-Men stories of all time. Those ads off. What are they coming up with? Oh, now we have Excalibur number 9 coming up, Astonishing X-Men. And right here, you got to click all through the 12 pages, which is something I just don't do. Waste of time. I can tell you the greatest comic book moments of the X-Men, just going back through there. It all goes back to the Dark Phoenix saga and or Wolverine. And what's popped up here all of a sudden? Oh, my goodness. Marvel cancels Hulu's Howard the Duck and Tigra and Dazzler shows. Let's click on that one. Now, right off the bat, the Tigra and Dazzler show, I heard it was woke piece of work, and I kind of wondered how people knew that, but I don't really care because right off the bat, it just sounded like a really bad idea, especially with, these are going to be Hulu. Oh, right on the Hulu channel app, whatever you have to do on your smart TV, on your phone. I found that sort of interesting that there wasn't enough support to really put it somewhere else. And then just as I thought, Kevin Smith was attached to the Howard the Duck. Now, Howard the Duck, yes, he sort of popped up and became sort of popular again, got a buzz about him because of a little cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy. He's got a cameo in Endgame, if you really get in there and dig and try to find them. But I heard about Howard the Duck when I was a kid. I had issue 2 floating around my house from the 70s. And the biggest thing with Howard the Duck was you got to go back to the Steve Gerber years to really get what he wants. Because in the 80s, George Lucas put out a Howard the Duck movie with Leia Thompson that was just incredibly panned. To me, it's a great bad movie. I enjoy it. I was on a show, the Comic Core, where I got if I had the VHS tape. I do have the VHS tape. I've just got to dig it out, but also have it on DVD. But I was able to see that in the theaters, and I just remember thinking this is so bad that I loved it. I thought they did it on purpose, where I was probably like 12. I thought they would said, yeah, I thought the movie was exactly what it's supposed to have been on purpose, and it wasn't. Eric Breen is out there. Samuel David's out there. John Jones. It is raining, John Jones. You called it. It is raining. That's why we're on having a live stream. Eric Breen. Ingleton was rushed to the hospital Wednesday. He's okay. He live streamed with us from the hospital bed. Oh, my goodness. Well, Ingleton, what is his channel? I Love Comics. Wishing him the best. I think there's something in the works for me to pop up on his show. And since we're plugging things, Cody's Comic Chat, I believe that's what his channel is called. I did about a 30-minute interview on his channel. He has a Facebook page. He's really thrown himself into this project that he has. He has stickers made. He does comic reviews. I do believe he's been contacted by some indie comic people, if I'm following Facebook a little bit. Cody is someone who watched my channel for years. I ran into him in a comic book convention several years ago, and he's really taken off on his own. I like to see him get more hits and more subscribers, so I'm pretty sure it's called Cody's Comic Chat. If not, I'll do it. I'll plug it again later. We'll get back to the news here in a minute, guys. Like I said, it's just a rainy day. Shirley Tim's Fun Bunker 2.0. Somebody else that is playing around with the format on his channel. Go check him out. Yeah, I think on Facebook is he and I had the most interaction. Studio Fitness is there. Good morning. And it's raining in Scotland too. Yeah. So getting back to this. What we got here? Well, I'm not going to read the whole article, but Howard the Duck writer, executive producer Kevin Smith has told Newsarama that the writing staff of his cartoon was notified on January 22nd, 3 days ago, that development had halted. Said he got a text. The only explanation was, we have no plans for this character at the time. So it sounds like there's a little bit of an implosion going on, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. It's easy to read into that and think, oh man, they're doing something. Or maybe it's like somebody finally realizes that they are in the business of making money in entertainment. Yes, that's what I would like to think. I feel bad for Kevin Smith, because Kevin Smith, I followed his stuff since 1995 when my buddy brought in this VHS tape of a black and white movie that I scoffed at that was called Clerks. About 2-3 weeks after we watched Clerks, I turned on my TV and there's Jay and Silent Bob on my television screen in color because a movie called Mallrats was coming on, something like that. So I'm not going to get into this too much, but yeah, here we go. Smith saw the writing on the wall with Marvel's October 2019 restructuring, which saw Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige placed in charge of Marvel TV and publishing as well. Smith remains philosophical about this as well. So yeah, Kevin Feige is there, and let's be real, man. The Marvel movies are huge, so I completely trust this guy's judgment. In my opinion, I don't know anybody that was really looking forward to a Tigra and Dazzler show. Show me somebody that demanded to have those two characters out there. I think they're great supporting characters to be introduced, but that's about it. So let's move on here. Let me see if there's anybody having any comments there to say this. Shirley Tim's Bunker, loving the new format. Doesn't seem to stutter as much. Hey, I appreciate it. And like I said, hopefully I'll just get better at this, switching screens, so I'll do this. Count Von Strange is out there. What's up, pal? Or wait, what's up, Count Von Strange? And Shirley Tim's Fun Bunker. Smith's got the Supergirl money coming in. Maybe that will do the Duck at a later date. Like I said, I'd really like to see them go back to the Steve Gerber stuff with Howard the Duck, and people would get the magic of what was going on there. It was very smart writing and entertaining at the same time. Okay, see if we want to talk about this. Eradicator and Daxamites team up to fight Justice League in issue 41. Okay, so the Eradicator is a character who is like the essence of the culture of Krypton. And then we have the Daxamites, who are supposed to be some sort of, or maybe not, offshoot of Kryptonians and stuff. So basically we have a Superman war going on. I wish I could be excited about this, but we'll kind of move on. Best shots, rapid fire reviews. We got reviews of Excalibur #6, Superman 19, and Marauders #6. Series that I don't know anybody is really reading, and when I do hear Superman mentioned, it's just Bendis hate. I've had a few Bendis fans pop up in my comments here and there that don't seem to really get you. Don't have to defend him with me. I've said what I said, nothing personal against him. Mark Russell sharpens his knives for killing Red Sonja. Okay, so we're doing, is this the end story for Red Sonja? Usually I'm very positive and very excited for new projects that come out, but I'm seeing a trend in comics lately where we're doing stuff like this. A lot of hype, and it usually falls flat. Killing Red Sonja, that's quite a statement. So this is, I'm going to go ahead and tell you that this is a mercy click, a pity click, if you will. A pity click. Yeah, I think I'm going to start saying that. Pity click for bad news. All right. So we got some under cleavage there. She's looking down on us. Sky behind her. Definitely need to have that in context to really appreciate it. So what we got here? I don't know if anybody's really reading Red Sonja, but the She-Devil with the sword is toppled and killed an evil emperor. To top it off, he's back with a spin-off series. Okay. What we got here? Oh, it's a freaking interview. So we're going to move on. You guys see it. You can go back and look at it all you want. Not really interested. I like this, man. I feel like I'm starting to become the Mystery Science Theater of comics here. See what we got here. Star Wars. Picard warps onto TV with an okay premiere episode. I have not heard great things about this. Okay. Picard was supposed to come in. It got the woke tag on it right away. You have to stream it on CBS Access, from what I understand, but I've seen a trailer or two. And I'm going to tell you one thing did pique my interest. It looked like we had 7 of 9. The Jerry Ryan from the 90s of Star Trek Voyager. Star Trek Voyager was a crap show until they got 7 of 9. Just like Star Trek The Next Generation wasn't really clicking until, for some reason, Jonathan Frakes grew his beard. I don't know what the chemistry is there. Well, that's a blasting cat. But I saw Jerry Ryan 7 of 9 in a little clip of a trailer, and I don't want to watch Picard per se, but I would love to see what's happened with 7 of 9. What is this, 20 years later? This is in real time. Okay, Samuel David. Yeah, that makes sense. Was not looking forward to the show. Talking about something I talked about a minute ago. Count Von Strange, the coffee cup is amazing. Thank you. Goodwill, 99 cents. I washed the hell out of it before I let my lips touch it. I'm left-handed, and this is due to the antenna. This is definitely a right-handed cup. Robert Vendetta is writing the Justice League. I have faith it will be very good, and that's what I'm saying. Eric Breen, you come on here and we talk about comics. Sometimes I'm not impressed. I like being won over, and I really don't you really got to like something that is just total crap, and it shows you don't know what you're talking about before I come after you for liking something. If you're a Robert Vendetta fan, I'm cool with that. If you're a Bendis fan, I'm cool with that. So don't think that just because I'm talking about these works that it's like, let's go at it. Okay, didn't they say that Sonja was like a title past? I hope not. If I'm reading what you're saying right, there's one Red Sonja, and I'm hoping that they're not, giving it a legacy, if that's what you're getting at. Okay, yeah, 7 of 9 revived that show. Lots of Jerry Ryan love should be given, because she really was amazing on that show. So Picard, hopefully, great things for Picard, but I want to see 7 of 9. Gwen Stacy meets the Maker in Ghost Spider #7 first look. Again, not interested in this, right? Gwen Stacy died back in the early 70s. Her death was this is when death counted. That's probably why a bunch of us more seasoned guys, or anybody that really knows comic book history, totally gets the death of Gwen Stacy meant something. Probably, a lot of people want to say Crisis. I go with Infinity Gauntlet. And of course, we always go straight to Jean Grey, Marvel Girl. But those were incidents that made death in comic books mean nothing. Anybody can come back. Over time, people are like, "I'll just wait 5 minutes. If they're dead, they'll come back. They were killed." Gwen Stacy, when she died, the Silver Age died, and we went into the Bronze Age. It was one of those benchmark moments in Spider-Man history. There was people who actually loved Gwen, so now to see them kind of bringing her back because people don't want to make new characters, lazy writing, whatever. Spider-Gwen cracked me up to the point that it was because of Robbie Rodriguez acting like it was his baby, like he created something good when he just took two ideas and merged them. Don't make it more than what it is. And then one of the things, I'm one of those people when J. Michael Straczynski took over Spider-Man, and after that book had just gone to the pits, the Spider-Man book, he kind of brought it back, got some structure there, took a little bit from Swamp Thing, in my opinion, when it came to totems and animal totems. And, he tried to kind of have something like you're going to see the trees because you've been looking at the forest with Spider-Man. He did some good stuff, but a lot of people became angry when it was revealed that Gwen Stacy had a relationship with Norman Osborn, and they had twins and a baby and all this stuff, and the babies grew very fast because of the potion or whatever it was, the chemicals that gave Norman Osborn the powers of the Green Goblin. At first, I was like, let's see where he's going with this, and then about a week or two later, after reading what he was doing, I was like, this is garbage. They've done it. So this whole thing about bringing Gwen Stacy back, Gwen Stacy is somebody you should be bringing back when it has something to do with Peter. There was also a clone of Gwen Stacy walking around thanks to the Jackal. That's a whole other story. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna get used to this, man. I'll talk about a subject and come back and check it. I'll get my timing down as time goes by here. Man, you guys have been talking. Paulo Costa's here. Awesome. What we got here? Although really good, I'm glad that the perpetual story for Justice League has come to an end. These year-long stories could be wrapped up a lot quicker. And I think that says a lot about a lot of stories. They actually would be better if they just told the story. It's the pacing that they do for stories to get it in trade, the deconstructive way of storytelling that's somehow survived for a long time now, really hurts a lot of stories that would probably pop better if they experimented or just told you the story and stopped trying to filibuster a lot of it or spread it out. Death in comics will forever mean nothing if they ever bring back Uncle Ben. I think Uncle Ben is the last man standing, if you will, when it comes to death in comics. It used to be Bucky. The joke used to be Bucky and Uncle Ben stayed dead, and they brought back Bucky. Again, Bucky was one of those things that my knee-jerk reaction was like, how dare they? But I don't know where that came from. That lasted like a whole 30 seconds. And what they did with Winter Soldier and Bucky and did it in story, not with a revamp and retcon and all this stuff. Everything happened and everything moved forward, and they did kind of shoehorn a little history here and there, kind of, make it relevant, like where's he been? That was actually really good. Bringing back Jason Todd worked. One of the things I liked about Blackest Night, I'm just going to talk like we're comic book collectors, guys. I'm not going to revamp everything, but Blackest Night was really cool because the joke of the death in comics that had become of so many characters, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Superman, all these characters that died. What a lot of people missed in Blackest Night is that Necron, who is an avatar of death, if not the death, however Jeff Johns handled him, he put all these together and actually made it part of a master plan of why people were able to die and be sent back. I sort of wished he had really put that out there a lot more in the front of the story, but maybe it was a better thing that it didn't because it just made the story go forward. Like he put it in there, and if you're paying attention, you'll get it. So DC sort of had it out there to where they kind of saved it and could have made death mean something again. 2009, 2010, but then we got 52. Man, you guys are on top of all this. Okay. Eric Breen, I didn't take that as a knock on Vendetta. I'm just happy to be able to recommend anything in 2020. Amen. Amen. Kid Ragnarok. I think it was all a matter of time until death would have become meaningless in superhero comics. Interesting. New comments. Eric Breen, I want an Uncle Ben, Martha Wayne company crossover. You know what? I'm sure if we go through some comic book movies, we'll see that's happened. Martha. Yeah. Did we just become best friends? That was so funny. Apollo talking. All right, let's move on to some more news. See how far we get with this before I just can't take anymore. Legion of Superheroes number 4 postponed 2 weeks. Isn't that amazing? Why am I not surprised? Okay, if you've watched my channel for a while though, you know I'm not big on this revamp of Legion of Superheroes. I think they should have been a whole new thing. The Legion of Superheroes have become living, breathing characters with people who have, I mean, like I said, in real life, I know people who've read Legion since the 60s, some since the 70s, people like me, late 70s into the 80s. And, you know, like I said, a lot of the stuff in the Legion, you know, they've just been so developed by Paul Levitz, mainly is the main guy that I give a lot of credit to. Paul Levitz and stuff, and then some guys that jumped in there like Roger Stern and stuff in the of course, Keith Giffen, Paul Levitz, a little bit of Roger Stern. A lot of these guys were really fleshed out. A lot of human moments for these characters, despite it being alien and stuff. If you never saw Brainiac reacting to Supergirl dying in Crisis while he could still remember her, a lot of great stuff in there. A lot of family issues. Chameleon Boy and his dad on Durlan in issue 301 of the super, you know, moments and stuff of the Legion of Superheroes, and like, you know, I don't know what it was, 83, 84 or whatever, you know, to do what they've done. So now that this book is postponed, again, this is a book that I feel sorry for the artists, because the artists are knocking it out of the park and stuff, right? I really still haven't met anybody that's really happy with this book or really taking it off. I heard that there's a comic book shop about 2 hours from me called Sailfish. It's got a bunch of S's before it, but they were part of some sort of comic book. You know, there's a place, I can't remember where, it's maybe Comic-Con or something. I remember seeing them in Wizard magazine, but they would actually ask comic book shops what was selling in their shops to actual fans that came in the shop. And I heard Legion had a week where it actually sold, but I also heard it was because they didn't have any competition of bigger books. It was like a perfect storm. Beat that like button the way the Road Warriors used to beat the Mulkeys. Mulkey Mania of the 80s was amazing, man. That's a huge compliment, man. So yeah, like that button, share, whatever you want to do there, man. Let people know we're here. New Legion is a mess, too early to tell, but Bendis is just bogging it down. Well, the first video I did to play around with this format it really amazed me that Bleeding Cool actually had a sort of a realistic view of the Legion of Superhero books thus far, and it is a mess, you know. The only interesting character so far is Ultra Boy's father. I kept wishing he just straight up murdered the whole team. Ultra Boy just happens to be my favorite Legionnaire. The best thing with the Legion so far was the free ring. Not going to lie, I wished I could have got the ring. Looks like I might have to get on eBay. But yeah, I mean, Bendis overshadows any of the books that he's on now. It's his arrival at DC has really flopped, in my opinion. It's really flopped, and I hear more about what he's screwing up than what is going well in his books. I mean, there's got to be something he's doing right. You know, I mean, he's got his fans, but I just don't see it. All right, moving on. I'm not even going to click on the Legion stuff here. Classic cartoon He-Man arrives in Masters of the Multiverse number 4. Now, as a kid in the 80s there, I have 2 childhoods, and they are separated by the decades, in my opinion. Well, the AdSense stuff is trying to interfere with this. So anyway, So when it comes to He-Man and stuff, I always think it's fun. I never take any of the comics serious. I love that he's still kicking. I love that these 80 properties are still out there being relevant. I love that some 70s properties like Battle of the Planets and stuff, things like that. I'm a sucker for those. I'm a sucker for those. That's part of the fun. What I we used to talk about all the time, and maybe some people forget or they just need to be reminded, just like me and stuff, is that at the end of the day, comic books are supposed to be fun. And when you have things like the actual He-Man, you have things like Thundercats and anything like that. Some of the stuff is just fun to see it still popping up. What they had like Dream War a few years ago, where we got to see the Justice League. Oh my God, it's snowing! It's gone from rain to snow out here, guys. But anyway, that was some ADHD shit right there. But anyway, but it's always fun just to see something pop up. Like I'm a sucker for Future Quest and Johnny Quest. They may not be the most written books, but they're fantastic. And then we had a seed. Like I said, this is unscripted, man. My mind is just going. But a few years ago, oh my God, who was the team on this book? But anyway, they had a 6-issue miniseries with Alex Ross covers of the origin story of Space Ghost. And this thing was fantastic. It was a freaking like a Lone Ranger space western is how they did the guy and stuff, right? They took all the characters from Space Ghost and made them realistic. I mean, you had praying mantis aliens coming down that were eating people. That was the whole reason for their invasion. You had Space Ghost being like an ex-ranger, ex-space cop or something. It was fantastic. It was just great. Okay, so we got some He-Man and 80s love still going on. Tim Seeley, I think, the guy that was writing that, I think he's a pretty solid writer in my opinion, with what I've read so far over him. So where were we at? Number 10? Yeah, so let's see what's not in the top 10 right now. Image Comics, April 2020 solicitations. Wait till June or July and just get those out of the dollar bin, guys. 10 surprises from Marvel Comics for April 2020. Do we really have any, like I said, I'm not going to like talk about Marvel Comics and Marvel Comics on this channel. I think it was Surly Tim there that told me about, maybe use the term classic Marvel if I do like get back issue bins and stuff like that. But 10 surprises from Marvel Comics. I guarantee any surprise they have is just going to piss me off, if it is even a surprise or not some rehashed stuff. And what was it? I saw something pop up in my Google, this Miss Marvel book. Apparently, if you're under 21, you can't be a hero. And if I recall right, doesn't that undo Civil War that they did? I don't know. Marvel, the people who brought continuity to comics, have just abandoned that. Jeff Johns on bringing Superboy Prime. I'm going to imagine this is to television. Nope, I'm wrong. Jeff Johns on bringing Superboy Prime to Shazam number 10. Did they finally start getting that book out on time? I mean, really. That's actually the last thing I remember is hearing that the book was just delayed. So Superboy Prime coming in there. They're getting around the Superboy versus Superman, I guess. And they're going to bring in Superboy Prime. It looks like he's going to be bringing in the Justice Society into that book, the Doomsday Clock in December. I don't know. There's been a whole lot of mess there, in my opinion, with Jeff Johns' books, almost like they just pushed everything aside that he's building up to. And we had a huge delays in Doomsday, probably because they were out doing what Jeff Johns had set out to do, to apologize to the fans for DC 52. To where it sounds like to me, I feel like Superboy Prime coming in is really just a little bit of a stunt. Because in my opinion, and I'm going to say it, in my opinion, one of the coolest things that you kind of had was Superman versus Shazam, Captain Marvel, the original Captain Marvel, Shazam. But I always felt like Captain Marvel, Shazam could take Superman due to him being vulnerable to magic, and Shazam is mostly magic, power of the gods and whatnot and stuff. But he is at DC Comics, bought by DC Comics, so they're not going to it's like the WWF. One of the reasons Ric Flair didn't take down Hulk Hogan in the early '90s is because Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon helped build that WWF brand back then. If he didn't create it, he's not going to let him take him down. Oh, what do we got here? DC did the Ghost series, great stuff. Yeah, that Space Ghost series was great. I'm only snagging a few Marvel books. Can't bring myself to supply cheese for the rodent. That's hilarious. A lot of people were bragging, telling me I really needed to go out there and get the Immortal Hulk. I read a few issues online, and then what happened about 2 months later, they make the news for losing half of their audience for going woke, or whatever that happened in that book, which is sad because I saw some fantastic Alex Ross Immortal Hulk covers where they had Zimnu the Titan, my favorite comic book monster, space monster. He was fantastic when I read him as a kid. What we got here? Superboy Prime sounds like it could be cool. Yeah, I'm down for Superboy Prime. What's cool about Superboy Prime for people who don't know is that he's from our world. Earth Prime was supposed to be in this Earth, and this is where the comic books we read are the other Earths. You follow what I'm saying? So he has a comic book collection where he knows he knows about everybody's secret identity and what they've been doing and how they've been talking to him. When he got sent back to Earth Prime, his family was scared to death of him because he became such a killer in the DC universe. They've been keeping up with him in the comic books. I mean, what Jeff Johns was doing was very subtle and very genius and very cool. He knew exactly how far to take that Superboy Prime concept and keep it cool. If you go back and read Infinite Crisis, Superboy Prime's fighting style brought realistic violence to the heroes. That's why people were getting arms ripped off, and people were like, I don't want my comics to have this stuff. Well, that's Superboy Prime's character. When the real world sticks its nose in there a little bit into the comic book physics and stuff, that's why it was such a dichotomy. A lot of people thought it was violence for violence sake, realistic violence. It was just I got what he was doing. It was very cool. Billy can beat Clark. He just doesn't want to. Yeah, and I'm cool with that. I've seen interpretations. Maybe it was in the Justice League cartoon by Bruce in the Bruce Timmverse, but I think there's a little bit somewhere online. I've seen little hints and stuff that they tried to play like Superman was Billy Batson's hero a little bit. He looked up to them. He doesn't want you don't want to take down your heroes. So I completely agree with that. Red Vitamin Blue. I like many of the original 80s IPs, not so much the sanitizing efforts made by modern writers to conform these properties to their own sensibilities. This goes back to something I can bounce off of that. I'm not reinterpreting what Red Vitamin Blue said here, but this kind of goes back to what I was talking about when it comes to the writers that I respected in interviews I've heard of writers talking and stuff, not just in comics, is that you're there to kind of serve the character. You know what I mean? You take what the character will and won't do. They've got to have boundaries and personalities and views, anything, right? And a lot of people don't do that. They all of a sudden the writers seem to think that they're the star and they want to make that person say what they want because they can't build. To me, it's lazy writing, and it shows a lack of talent or confidence where you don't build up your own character to say the things you wish they would say. And you get hired on a property, you act like it's yours all of a sudden. It makes no sense to me. Shirley Tim's Bunker, that Shazam story has been good, but the artist slipped. Fair enough. King Ragnarok, solid Captain Marvel, Ric Flair comparison there. I agree with you. I'm here to make people happy sometimes. Yeah. Gretzky is out there. What's up, Gretzky? The King Shazam special was pretty brutal. The King, yeah. Okay. So let's get back here and get out of this, see what's going on here. We'll just go on down the line there because I haven't looked at comic book news in months. Get rid of these ads and moving on here. I saw Archie Comics. I tell you what, man, I'm hearing a lot of great stuff about Archie Comics, and it seems like they're all over the place on television and stuff. One of the things they have coming out that I really want to get a hold of, if it's not already out, you can go to archie.com or whatever their company is, and you can order this stuff online, and they have some sales that are really good. But they have the Archies Meet the B-52s. I was lucky enough to go was it last year or the year before, I saw the B-52s, and I actually have Fred Snyder's drumstick where he plays the cowbell right over there. I was very happy to get that. Oh, Oni Press. Here we go. Yep, they can wait. Oni's render post. More books postponed indefinitely. Behold the Starlight, Citadel, and Excalibur #9 cover. No. Again, it's because it's modern Marvel. I have my reasons. What we got here? The Falcon and Winter Soldier adds Noah Mills and mystery role. Now that's kind of good. I'm hoping there's great things for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that will be fantastic. Now, the Phantom and Winter Soldier book, if they do this right, in my opinion, and like I said, Kevin Feige is over the TV stuff that we read in a previous article there. The Falcon Winter Soldier could harken back to the Jack Kirby returning to Marvel in the 70s and us having the Captain America and Falcon books, right? They could have like this great chemistry and stuff, right? And as far as the Falcon's going, I'll be interested to see if this show is just going to help transform him into Captain America proper for the movies or something, or what they're doing with it. I've kind of I stay away from spoilers and a lot of comic book news, right? So I might be talking out of my ass here. But one of the things I would love to see is for them to go back to a character who was called the Swine. Okay, that is one of my favorite Jack Kirby Captain America Falcon stories, and it's probably one of the first Captain America books I read in the 70s when I was about 5 years old. That character, the Swine, was just like this skinny dude with a monocle. We'll just leave it at that and stuff like that. But Kirby drew him in such a way that I feel like I could feel the grease on his skin. You know, I mean, and Kirby's art scared the crap out of me back then. Archie's the best. We got some Archie comics over here. The Archie occult titles have been pretty cool. Archie meets B-52 next month. Thank you. Thank you. I'll be on the lookout for that. I might just go ahead and order it online. And then I have Shirley Tim sitting there going, I keep wanting to call it Falcon and the Snowman. I had the same problem. Then what we got here? Next thing we have up here is Philip K. Dick's head is missing. And other weird tales in heavy metal, number 298 preview. All right. So far, it sounds like I've been pretty harsh on a lot of things, but heavy metal is one of those books that I hope it's kept a fan base. I did get to read an issue or two when Grant Morrison was the editor-in-chief of the book. I have no idea if he's still there, but where he was working with and writing stories for heavy metal for, you know, whatever amount of time he was there in their offices. He really brought some of that influence into his last Green Lantern run, and it really hit as the further it went. So when I was reading these last Green Lantern books by Grant Morrison, I felt like a few of those chapters could have been stuck right in heavy metal. Now, heavy metal really, you know, I don't really collect that as I did, because to me it was the European comics of the 70s. I don't know, what was it, 77, probably to about 83 or 84, where I found Mobius. Didn't know it was Mobius. I was just a kid flipping through these, and it was really the art that would grab me. So I really hope that heavy metal is innovative as it was, because their offshoot book, their humor book, Soft Wood, really just was just, they thought that it was just horrible. It was horrible. I wish, I'm not going to be forgiving on this. So going back to a Philip K. Dick story, for you guys that don't know, if you watched Blade Runner, Minority Report, and I can't believe I can't think of them, but there's been a lot of Philip K. Dick stories that have been adapted to movies. I think there was a television show or something where they had, like, I don't know, 9 or 10 episodes taking Philip K. Dick stories out there. But he's, you know, I've got some stuff where they've actually adapted the book, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, where they did a faithful adaptation of his book that influenced Blade Runner. But anyway, Philip K. Dick, what I'm getting at is it's really cool to see him become his own, you know, very famous person. Just sorry he didn't live to see it, see the influence and everything that he had. Adding heavy metal to the file, fingers crossed. Yeah. Try to support more indies titles this year. Absolutely, man. All right, so I'm just going to do a few more here, and I think we'll call it to a day, because I'm going to tell you, I'm just not really seeing anything that's blown me out of the water. skip on down here, see what was going on. The Green Lantern Corps joins the fray in Crisis on Infinite Earths Giant #2. I have those pre-ordered. If there's a book that harkens back to Crisis on Infinite Earths, and a company that has said we are trying to move forward, but we're going to mine the death of our older stuff and put it out there in reprints in 100-page giants at Walmart. Yeah, I'm there. I'm a total mark for Crisis on Infinite Earth stuff. I'll grab it. So far, I saw the first issue. It was like a reprint, and it wasn't even a Crisis on the Infinite Earth story proper. It was a tie-in to Crisis on Infinite Earths, the CW shows, which fell flat in my opinion. When a Private Birds of Prey screening from Splat Hair Color. I really have no, and I really don't want to see this movie because this is not Black Canary. I don't know what they've done here. A Huntress, all these characters, they really had an opportunity. This is what kills me. They got this thing that happened in the Suicide Squad. I will watch Suicide Squad. I own it. I can enjoy the movie. But every time I watch them, like, they have wasted so many characters. They completely wasted Katana. They had them just walking around the streets fighting stuff, which on paper sounds like it should have been good, but nothing was happening. And now look at this. This is their idea of cosplay heroes. Not my thing. If it's your thing, good luck. If this movie is a hit, it's because of Harley fans and Margot Robbie fans. They're hoping they're going to, What we got? Superman, Heroes #1, postponed 3 weeks. This was yesterday. Not surprised. Joe Hill horror books. And like I said, there's nothing really popping out at me. Okay, and that's it. So, here we go. I get my 100 pagers at the local comic book shop. Fantastic. Birds is going to be a train wreck. I would like it not to be, but it's not looking good, is it? Yeah, a lot of people. We got 2-3 people here agreeing that Birds of Prey is going to be a hot mess, man. All right, guys. So I'm going to stop the screen sharing. Get my ugly mug back up there. They said that in the past, the design costumes that are easy to replicate by cosplayers. Well, you know what? The whole fun of cosplay back in the day, and I'm one of those guys that kind of became involved in cosplay back in the 90s a little bit. People forget that it took a lot of nerve to do the cosplay stuff. The earliest footage I've ever seen goes back to the 70s. And there's a big scandal with this cult icon girl who's about 14. I can't remember if she's 12 or 14 who dressed like Vampirella, which by today's standards isn't a big deal, but it was back then. But though, if you go back and look at cosplay, it's sort of like you get challenged. Okay, first of all, you had the nerve to do it. It really became it's nothing big now for people to have to get the confidence to go out and do it. They just do it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like Halloween. All right, I get my costume Halloween. But there's a lot of people put a lot of work in those costumes, right? And if you dumb down the characters costume-wise now, that just blows my mind. Costume-wise down, if that's really their reason for doing it, you're doing an injustice to cosplay. People are not going to be challenged. People are not going to, people want to be challenged. They want to rise up. They want to see if they can do it. You know what I mean? How close to the actual character can I get? Maybe these kids today are a little bit different. I know there's a lot of stuff you can just buy online and stuff. But in my day, I still have the jacket I made for the Riddler. I still have the stuff that I made here and there. If you have a few little pieces here and there. Like I said, I was not a huge cosplayer because back then, it really took a lot of nerve to show up to do it. So dumbing down these costumes in the movies makes no sense to me. This is your chance to entertain. This is your chance to grab people, and this is your chance to get your brand. I'm not in the movie business, but I'm telling you that as a customer, I'm like, get me, impress me. Let's do it. This is your chance. You're making a freaking movie. What are you holding back for? So people can cosplay? That makes no sense. Yeah, Paulo Costa, they said in the past they designed costumes that are easy to replicate by cosplayers. I just went on my rant. Paulo Costa, I don't understand cosplayers make their costumes at home. Marvel DC make no money from cosplayers. Exactly. Surly Tim's Bunker, Wendy Penny is Red Sonja. Good call. Good call. I cannot believe I didn't even bring that up. That is, oh my gosh, that's, what was the show? Oh my God, Dick Cavett, the Dick Cavett show. I remember loving YouTube the day that I got to see Wendy Penny walk out as Red Sonja on the Dick Cavett show with the dude who had an Action Comics #1 standing beside a cleaner. It was amazing. Look it up, Dick Cavett. It was amazing. Kid Ragnarok. I was reading an issue of Anime UK from '95 last night and was amused that they were called costume players. I haven't realized how recent the cosplay term was. I can't recall the first time I heard cosplay out there. I don't remember the first time I heard LARPing. Well, I do remember the first time I heard LARPing. That was in the '90s. Like I said, I was in my 20s in the '90s, and after my travel, when I finally settled down a little bit, and got out there a little bit, I started really seeing this stuff in real life. I mean, it's a double-edged sword for somebody like me. I would imagine people probably my age and stuff that were around this to see what should have been a celebration, of like everybody's starting to cosplay. You're seeing more and more of them. And I have no doubt that social media played a huge part in it, right, of this thing taking off. But then it really got out of hand with the cosplay. Then you had these arguments about fake fans and people that were showing up, and there were people, men and women. That's the whole thing. I'll call it. There were men and women who were pushing it as far as they could to get attention with how much skin they could show with these things. What was so funny is I think it was Baltimore in Charlton 66. They pointed out this guy who walks around like Tarzan or something, but he just walks around so he can wear a loincloth. It's like he's an exhibitionist. And they laugh because, like, there's the dude. He always seems to try to get the skimpiest outfit that he can, and everybody knows it. So, yeah, it's kind of cool that, it's, like I said, it's a double-edged sword. It's cool to see it get popular, and the stuff that I've seen. Some of this, I've got tons of pictures on my Facebook over the years of some amazing cosplay stuff I've seen. Some of the innovative stuff that I've seeing how far it can go. But then again, you sort of lose that innovative, special beginnings of it for people, where it's out of the pure love of the character and they have to figure out how they're going to replicate their costumes and stuff. Shirley Tim, I still have my homemade Grendel mask. That's amazing. Red Vitamin Blue, modern cosplay perspective from Marvel and DC, removing barriers to maximizing consumption and proliferation of products in the culture. Red Vitamin Blue, you always have those comments where I think you bottom line it and stuff, and you get down there and do it and stuff. But, the whole idea of Marvel and DC thinking that they're going to connect with their fans through cosplaying, I feel bad for them if that's what they're doing, because, cosplay is different. It used to be the love of the character. I met cosplayers that didn't know a lot about comics, but my God, if that woman dressed up like Scarlet Witch, she can tell you everything about Scarlet Witch. Players coming to buy their comics. There's such, when it comes to the whole hobby, I refuse to call it a culture now. The whole hobby and stuff, still a very small part of that are cosplayers. A lot of cosplayers that shows up don't just pull from the comics. They're more fans of anime. They're more fans of video games, and other areas that have nothing to do with buying comic books. Paulo Costa, LARPing is older than cosplaying. It grew out of gamers wanting to do what the historical reenactors did, but with fantasy. Yeah, LARPing was interesting because the LARPing I saw was in probably the mid-'90s. It was very strange. I'm not going to lie. That has more to do with the people that was doing it than the actual LARPing, if you will. Okay. And it was Vampire the Masquerade through White Wolf role-playing. Okay. And it's very strange, man. I don't think... very strange. And then I saw some LARPing years later. I don't know what. That still might have been a White Wolf product that they were doing, and that felt a little bit less creepy, if you get what I'm saying. Kid Ragnarok, yeah, cosplaying has evolved for better or for worse. Shirley Tim's Fun Bunker. First time I heard of LARPing was when I played D&D back in the 90s. There you go, man. All right, guys. So I have breakfast to make. I got some messages to call. I got to get on with my day. It stopped snowing. Might turn back to rain. It's going to be interesting. So, anybody got any questions, any topics they want to talk about? Other than that, we'll kind of, the tradition here is that it's raining when we talk about comics. The other tradition, it seems to be that, right when I'm ready to wind it up, a lot of people run in here and they're like, hey. So I'm reminding people, hit that bell, make it to where you can see everything, have it alert you to all at the top of it. So, when we get this started, because I've sat here and watched people show up here towards the end again, and I'm always down for it. Don't get me wrong. Okay. Paulo Costa. Yeah, send me a message on Facebook. Hey, Gray Man Media. Hey, happy Saturday morning. Have you had any chapters of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure? JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Why does that sound familiar? Can't answer that right now. That's so far out of left field for me. I don't think I have. I'll have to look that up, and I want to smack myself if I find it out. But anyway, guys, thanks for popping in here. Might do another one later, if not tomorrow. So like I said, hit the bell, share, like, and everything like that. And I will catch you guys later. Be excellent to each other.